Hello, and welcome to another episode of Math with Dr. War. Today, we're going to be finding the volume of a cylinder. On the task test, you'll be asked to find the volume of various shapes. Could be a cylinder, a pyramid, a cone, or a sphere. Today, we're going to focus on the cylinder. Whenever it says find a volume, your first step is to get your reference sheet. A reference sheet will be given to you on the day of the test, and it will outline the formulas to find the volume of a cylinder, a pyramid, a cone, or a sphere. Now, when you look at your reference sheet, at the bottom there is a key, so pay attention to it. V means volume, R means radius, H is height, and B equals the base of the area. Our question states, an architect uses a cylindrical container to protect her blueprints. The dimensions of the cylinder are shown in the diagram. Find the volume of the cylinder to the nearest inch. I see my cylinder, so the best thing about this problem is they also told us it was a cylinder. So if you do not know what a cylinder looks like, it looks like this. So a cylinder looks like a can of Coke or a can of soup. Always remember the shape of a cylinder. Now right here, the 3 represents your radius. So notice it's starting from right here in the center of the circle and it's extending to the outskirts of the circle. The 15 right here represents your height because it looks like your cylinder is laying on its side. So we know it's a cylinder, so you go to your reference sheet, you find cylinder, you see the associated formula, we're going to write it, V equals to pi r squared times height. Now remember, pi has an estimated value of 3.14. So some students always remember that. So right here, pi is 3.14, your radius is 3 squared, and your height is 15. And that's it. Whenever they ask you to find a volume, just go to the reference sheet, find your shape, find the associated formula, and then replace all of the variables by their numerical value. Now I'm going to use my calculator to calculate the volume. So I'm going to enter 314 times 3 squared times 15. Notice my answer is 423.9. So 423.9. But remember, they said find the volume to the nearest inch. So the nearest inch means the nearest whole number, or round to the ones or the units place. So the 3 is in your inch place or your whole place. When you look at the digit to the right, it's a 9. So the 9 makes that 3 becomes a 4. So my answer is 424 inches cubed. Volume is always measured in cubic dimensions. So for us, it's cubic inches. They may not ask you to find a volume. Sometimes they'll ask you, well, how many cubic inches? Because of the word cubic, you know right away you're finding volume. And now, since this is a gridded question, always remember to write your answer at the top because it guides you as you have to bubble in your answer or fill in. So I'm filling in the 4, then I'm filling in the 2, and then I'm filling in the 4. So always remember, read carefully because some of you may have gotten this answer incorrect because you did not see the question states, find the volume of the cylinder to the nearest inch. And because they said to the nearest inch, you are rounding to the nearest whole number. Now let's go back to the calculator. I have to make an important point. Now on the calculator, notice that there is a button for pi, and some students use that button, and it's fine. So suppose we're on the test and you're that student who uses pi. So you don't change pi to 314, you actually input pi times 3 squared times 15, which is fine. But notice what happens when you press enter. Your answer is 135 pi. Now students get a little bit scared when they see that because they know they can't grid pi in the grid. But remember this button right here? This is going to convert your 135 pi to a decimal. So when you get your answer, you're going to press this. And notice our answer is 424.115. Now I know some of you are saying, oh, but when you use 3.14, you got 423.9. Remember, 314 is an estimated value of pi. When you use the pi function on the calculator, you're using all the values of pi. Because remember, pi is not 3.14. It's a very long number. So when you use the pi button right here, you're using all of the values. And that's why you're going to get a different value. But notice, we still get 424 because you see this number here, this number 1. This will not change that 4. That will remain 4. That wasn't so difficult. Let's try another problem. Now sometimes they don't give you the shape. So it says here, a cylinder has a diameter of 10 inches and a height of 2.3 inches. What is the volume of this cylinder to the nearest tenth of a cubic inch? So they did not give us a shape, but they told us it was a cylinder. And they said find the volume. So again, go to your reference sheet. There's the cylinder. There's the formula. V equals pi r squared times height. Again, if you want to use pi as 3.14. Now notice here, they didn't give us the radius. They said the diameter of 10 inches. Okay, let's go back to our refresher course. Now radius always starts from the center and goes to the outskirts. That is radius. However, when they say diameter, that's the line that cuts your circle in half. So this is diameter. So when they said that the diameter was 10 inches, all of that was 10 inches. Now that is not your radius. To get your radius, you're going to have to divide that by 2. So if we divide 10 by 2, your radius is 5 inches. Okay, so our diameter was 10 inches, which means our radius is half of that. So we did 10 divided by 2, which is 5 inches. Your radius is half of your diameter. Just half, because remember, you're only going from the center to the outskirts. And if you draw a line here, that's another 5. When you add 5 and 5, guess what you get? 10. So we can't use 10 here. We're going to use 5 all squared. And then the height was 2.3. So let's get our calculator. Let's clear that. Let's put it in the calculator. 3.14 times 5 squared times 2.3. And we hit enter. And notice it gives us a value of 180.55. Our answer is right here. Multiple choice is so nice. Okay, let's get our calculator again. For those folks who may have pressed the pi function right here, that is fine. So if you do the pi times 5 squared times the 2.3 and you hit enter, notice you get the 180.6. Now sometimes on the task test, they don't want you to actually solve the problem. They want to know if you can set it up. It says a silo is a building shaped like a cylinder used to store grain. The diameter of a particular silo is 6.5 meters and the height of the silo is 12 meters. Which equation can be used to find V, the volume of the silo, in cubic meters? So again, cylinder, and here's the associated formula. So V equals to pi r squared times your height. Notice in the answer choices, they did not change pi to a numerical value. So we're going to keep pi as it is. Now remember, they said that the diameter, we don't want the diameter, we want the radius, which is from here to here. So we're going to have to take 6.5 and divide it by 2. Now this is pretty easy to divide if you go on the side, because this question could be on the non-calculator. So if you take 6.5 and divide it by 2, 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 times 3 is 6. When you subtract, you get 0. Bring down the 5. 2 goes into 5 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract, you get 1. Okay, we'll have to add a 0, bring it down, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. 6.5 divided by 2 is 3.25. But we didn't need to go through all of that. We know we couldn't use the 6.5 because that was your diameter. So my answer is not B, and it's not D, and the 12 right here is in the wrong place, so it's not that. So this is my answer without even going through all of that. But however, let's go through all of that. So here's my radius, which would be 3.25 all squared, and my height is 12. And that's it. So this was pretty simple. The diameter was 6.5, and in your formula there's no diameter, so you would have to divide that by 2, and basically we just looked for which one it would be. Wouldn't be this nor this. This is in the wrong place. Please be careful. Look at A and look at C, but notice what should be squared? Your radius. So 3.25 should be your squared value, not the 12. Which expression represents the volume in cubic centimeters of the cylinder represented in the diagram below? So we know the 27 represents the height. This 12 right here is your diameter because it's cutting your circle in half, which means my diameter is 12, therefore my radius will be half of that, 12 divided by 2, which is 6. Again, we go to our formula page. There's the cylinder. There's the formula. So V equals to pi r squared times your height. Now, when you look at your answers, notice they did not change pi to a numerical value. So we're going to keep pi as is. Our radius will be 6 squared, and our height is 27. So I'm keeping my pi as its symbol, and for the calculator, this is all I'm going to input. So we have 6 squared times 27. Notice I have a value of 972. So that equals to pi, and this is 972. So my answer is 972 pi. Right here. Okay, I always tell some of my students that you can go ahead and use the pi times 6 squared times your height, 27, equals, and it gives you your answer right here as 972 pi. Now, if your answer is a numerical value, just press this, and it changes it to a decimal. I hope this has been helpful with finding the volume. Good luck on your TAS examination.